Hi there. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. Welcome to 30 minutes of my day. I'm a day late. I'm sorry. I honestly tried yesterday. It was not meant to be. I think I tried 4 times and I either kept getting interrupted or I found myself, for those of you that don't do this kind of a video when you're creating crafts or what have you, you're basically talking to yourself while you're working. Well, my brain doesn't need any help in that area. I can talk to myself all day. But sometimes I wander off on tangents and afterwards, and I hit stop on the video and I think, what was I talking about? Or why was I talking about that? That had nothing to do with crafting. Anyhow, it was one of those days. And then I think hubby phoned a couple of times and interrupted. And as you know, with me, I'm not very tech savvy, so it's tricky for me to like edit out and splice and marry up and all that stuff. I would just rather I turn on my camera, I do my thing, I turn off my camera, and that's it. That's what gets posted. But I'm here today. Thank you for joining me. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw I made it to 2,300. Now that can change. I find that number uh, can sort of waffle back and forth for a few days before it finally really gets over the hump. Because as I do myself, I often will subscribe to a channel, and then after a couple of videos, I realize, you know what, this isn't what I thought, or it's not really for me, or it's not my style, or that sort of thing. So I appreciate that the 2,300 subscribers right now at this very moment could say, 22.97. That happens. But I saw the 2,300 and I thought, I'm getting a screenshot of this. And so I'm celebrating the moment, and thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. Thank you to everyone who puts little comments down below and gets a little conversation going. I love your input. I love your ideas. I love when you know something that I've been wondering about. I really love that. It's just opened up a whole other side for me working in my studio here. It really does feel like we all work together, and it's makes it a whole lot more fun. At least I think so. So I do have to I have to send out my thank you to you. Now, you know what? I'm going to put this aside because I want to show you. I'm a little late, a day late and a dollar short. Is that what they say? I did get some books at my book sale the other day. Hold on, I'm grabbing them. And if you watch Nancy over at Wishes and Weeds, you know that I had company on my company to my book sale. So hold on, I'm still grabbing things here, and I guess I should have paused, but I almost don't want to tempt fate today. So, so I'm not pausing. I'm not answering my phone. Oh, maybe I should set my alarm though. Hold on. Okay, let me see. Okay, set my alarm. I'm good to go. So Nancy popped out to see me, which is no easy feat. She lives 2 hours from me, but I'd say I live 3 hours from her. Because it depends on who's driving. Anyhow, you know what? 2 hours is still a long way. And she messaged me because she was watching my video. And she said, "Are you still going to your book sale?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, I'll be there. I'll meet you there, she said. So, of course, I was so excited. I think I squealed with joy. Um, and I said, well, come to my house first because you sort of have to go past it anyways because you come along the 401 and then you have to go north because it's in a little town that really isn't a town anymore. And my car knows the way there without me really. My car can be like a Tesla when it comes to thrift shops and book sales. You know how with the Tesla, with the automated driving? Yeah. Anyhow, so she did. So it was wonderful to go to my book sale with my Nancy. And then we went to a little antique market too. Had a little bit of lunch. I got to show her my thrift store that I usually haunt. We didn't find anything good. She found one book that she was prepared to get, but the line was just, at the time we decided to leave, I guess everyone in the store had decided to leave because the line was ridiculous. So we just left. And then she got to wander around my little room here. So it was wonderful. Anyhow, I got this book. It's old. It's not the original. This is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a revised version. It's been adapted, which is why it's not very big, of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. But it is 1937, so it's old. Let me get these big honkers out of the way. It's from 1937, so it's old. I liked the illustrations. I don't think I will use the cover, but I liked the illustrations. And they're just a perfect size for journaling cards. Now, sometimes there's an illustration on the exact same place. Let's see here, this one. That's okay. I'll either have to make like a King Solomon type decision, which one gets to be the journal card and which one gets covered in paper, or else I could just cut it out and it could go into a tuck spot as just something fun. Again, it's not the original illustrations. It says in here based on the original illustrations, but they're still very cute. And the colors are lovely. Look at that end paper. Isn't that beautiful? Mad Hatter's Tea Party. I wonder if there's one back here too. No, they only had it at the beginning. I like that pink. So I was happy with that. This was $1. 99.9% of all the books in this book sale are $1. But they have started pricing some of the more rare, older books a little bit more, which I think is a good idea, and I commend them for it, because the book sale is now going, as far as I know, it's going to raise money for our new hospice, our new local hospice. That's a really good cause. So these big books, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I got 3. I think Nancy got 2, I think. Hold on. I got 3. They're huge. These are big, big, big. And I'm so excited. Let's see what the measurements are. So these are encyclopedias. One is 1862, one is 1863, and one of them is 1868. So they are old. 10, if I take it right out to the curve, 10 by 7 by 2. That's a big book. That's a tome. That's an old tome. And I'm really excited to have some fun with these journals. They, you know what, let me get these 2 out of the way. They smell really, really good. Nancy noticed that right off the bat, that they smell like a wood fireplace. And they don't smell at all moldy. The paper is, sadly though, the paper is cracks. Here, I'll show you here. The paper just falls apart and cracks. But there are a lot of illustrations, a lot of engravings, a lot of maps that are perfectly suitable to glue down for collaging, for making journaling cards. And like, how cool, from the 1860s. Are you kidding me? That's just fantastic. I'm so excited to make something out of these. And for a junk journal creator, or an artisan journal creator, isn't that beautiful? Look at the size of that map of the world. We really, it's the cover we're looking at, so that we can put new usable guts into it. And it's just something I like to do whenever possible. I do like to put old pages back in. I'm going to have to figure something out. Like, I love this cover. This has got the year on it, 1868, right there. So I will have to put this onto another piece of paper, or cardstock, or maybe use it as the new end paper over here. But this will get well used, because there's really there's nothing else this kind of a book could have been used for, especially considering the paper situation, with it just cracking so easily. You just have to basically fold it, and you don't need scissors. But like I said, I'm okay with that. So I chose for mine, because they didn't have the full set there. So that's another bonus in case anyone out there is going, I can't believe you broke up a set from the 1860s. It was already in pieces as far as volumes missing. So I chose these ones. These two, the spines were still in really nice condition. And the front papers were, because it's got hand marbled paper on the covers. So I chose them purely for that. This one is got a little bit of damage here that I'm going to try and work with and tidy up, because I really liked that X there. So so I think I can work with that and tidy that up. I love the bands. I love the, you know me, gold gilding. Oh, mwah. And for me also, these are the colors I like to use, especially for Christmas things, as opposed to using like a bright red, candy red, and a bright green. I really love a dark wine red and a really dark, rich green for my Christmassy colors. So I think I would almost like to turn one of them into... maybe next year, not this year. I've got plans for this year, but maybe next year, one of them could be a Christmas journal. We'll see. So I'm very excited about these books. Oh, and they were charging $4 each. Can you believe it? $4 for a really cool big book from the 1860s. I'm happy. I'm very happy with that. Let me just get this out of my way, so I don't step on it. Now we hit the antiques place. I only found a couple of little things, but I did find some vintage guest check pads from, a diner. And I love it. Look at her there serving. I just love that. And I like the two different sizes. So I got those. I have guest checks, but they're brand new, bright white, and I have to tea dye them to make them look a little bit old. These ones are not going to need any help. Oh, let's see. 49 cents. Huh. So happy with those. I'm really happy with this next thing I found. One of the little antique malls just had a bin of plastic, almost like a small laundry tub, with old cabinet hinges and knobs and things to do with cabinets that were obviously taken off old doors and kitchen cupboards and things like that. And I found this in there. Isn't this cool? And this was the important part for me, whether I got it or not, that this comes off, because I'd really like to be able to use this part that looks like the top of a key. I still would have got it anyways, as long as I could get it apart, because I like that as well. And I would just use that on its own on a book. I think it would be stunningly beautiful. Look at the bow there. It looks like folded ribbons and some leaves. I love this. But if I can, I'm going to raid my husband's jars of stash downstairs in the furnace room and find a shorter screw so that I can put this in onto a book. There's some tiny holes. I'll be able to put some tiny little brads through to hold it down nice and sturdy. But then what I could do is a smaller screw. When I'm all done, I could put it right through the cover, and then this could go on at the last second. And then it would also be able to be removed if the new owner say they don't want that sticking out on the front. But I think if it's on a big book, it won't get that much in the way because, hold on, here, let me grab this one. Think about it. Look how cool that would look on the outside of a book. Let me turn it a bit. And see, what I'm thinking is if the screw is just short enough that I can put a hole right through the cover, but can be removed if they wish, then the little key would go there like that. So I hope that is viewable, which would look so cool. But and I don't think, especially if the book is a big one, and it would have to be because this is quite long. But if this was still attached, think about it. This is a 2-inch spine. It's quite sturdy. I don't think it's going to get in the way of the usefulness of working in the book. We'll see though, and it would be removable. So I'm borrowing trouble here, but I'm imagining in my head, I don't want to make a journal that isn't useful. I love this. It was 75 cents. Oh, I poured through the bin to see if there were any more. Usually, because this looks like it was off a cupboard or something. And usually if that's the case, there's more, because think about it. If somebody had these like on their kitchen cupboards, they would have 8 or 10 of them. But if it was off a cabinet, like a dining room buffet, then yeah, maybe there was just one. Anyhow, I love it. So that's going to, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously that would work really well. That would look beautiful on this journal. But I'm not sure yet. I'm going to have to think about where this beauty is going to go. Get that out of the way. So, I think that's mostly my stash. I did find something at Dollarama that I wanted to share with you. Hold on. Let me find it here. I found these in the kitchen goods aisle. I bought 2 packages. That's why it looks like there's a lot. They were in packages like this. Packages of 3. So 2 small and a large. I think I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. And I'm not sure why I got to looking at them, but one of my pet peeves when I want to secure the end papers inside a cover, I just put new ones in and they're not wanting to stay down. Oh, I'm definitely going to sneeze. Pardon me. If they don't want to stay down, if you use this kind of clip, it can leave a dent, especially in a really old mushy cover. Those ones can leave a dent. This kind can leave a mark or a dent. Even my beloved ones, and I love these ones, can... Oh. Pardon me. Oh, I'm sorry about that. They usually come in 3s. Well, we'll see. Can leave a dent, so much so that I have some little torn fabric pieces. You've probably seen me use them before, that I will put and buffer between this thing and the book. Well, I got to looking at these, and I hope you can see it. They're convex, so they're actually curved on both paddles are curved, and I'm hoping that maybe they won't leave dents. And look at the surface area they would cover to clip onto a book to hold things down. So I just thought, wow. So if I was doing here, let's grab this one. Say I was doing this cover, I could put in the end papers, clip, clip, and clip. Do you know what I mean? Or else just clip across the corners, because quite often it's the corners that are giving you grief. So because it was Dollarama, I figured I will give these a try. And if I don't like how they're working, I can still use them in my kitchen to actually do what it said on the label, hold chip bags or freezer bags in my freezer, So I was happy with that. Now they had something else there, so I thought I'd share it with you. I didn't get any, but I thought I'd share it with you. So anyone who has a Dollarama near them, they actually had these things there. Now I'm not sure of the quality, but I looked it over really carefully. They were in a box, so I couldn't pull it out. Hold on. I think I'm going to sneeze again, and I am not sneezing in front of you one more time. Okay, I think I'm good. Anyhow, it sure looked similar. I'm not sure whether it felt as heavy as this one. I really love this, and it's quite handy. But anyhow, they had some there. They had them in green here, or pink here, or black here. And they were in the makeup section. So it was labeled on the box as makeup brush holder. So you know what? If this looks like something you might be interested in and you want to give it a try, I don't know. I can't say for sure because I didn't get one. But Dollarama has them in the makeup pile for much less than what I paid for mine. Probably about $10 less. So give that a go. Oh, you know what? There was one more thing in my sort of a thrift haul, but it was from last week. This cool sweater. It's wool. It's a J. Crew sweater. Wool. It felt like it was almost brand new. I found it in the men's section. I always check the men's section for cozy cardigans. I love cardigans in the winter, especially for around the house here, because I don't like keeping my house too warm. I would rather bundle up. Anyhow, $4. So I'm really, really excited. They're not real leather buttons, but they're pretty. And I mean, look at the workmanship. They've got buttons backing, giving support to the front buttons. And it's got pockets. Oh, I got garbage in there. What have I got? Oh, I wore it to the drugstore. So there we go. That was my cozy wool sweater. Love wool sweaters. They're the best. Is one of my happy finds for this month. Okay, let me get this out of my way. Let's see how much time I've got. Yes, I've got a few minutes. I just wanted to show you what my next project is that I'm going to be working on. This is an old hymn book. I found it over in Nancy's neck of the woods last July when I went camping there. And it's from 1902. I've already got started on it. I have already removed the text block, and I've already cleaned out the edges of the end papers, and I've already resupported the spine. It's not in bad condition for a 1902 book, so what's that, 119 years old? It's leather. It's in quite nice condition. it's not cracking, or maybe it's not leather. I can see fabric through there. And maybe it's faux leather. I think it's faux leather. Interesting. Oh, that's fine with me then. Anyhow, I decided, although I'm not a huge Halloween, it just doesn't do much for me. But quirky, dark humor, well, not just humor, just dark, that makes you go, and think about things or find things curious or interesting. Like, for example, it fascinates me, and I feel like it's a fascination in a respectful way. The Victorians used to take pictures of their dearly departed. Sometimes it was the only time in their life that they could actually get them to a photographer, so they would. It was a very normal thing, especially if you'd never had your photo taken and this was going to be your only chance, even though your loved one had passed, that they would do photos, and I find that fascinating. Anyhow, I think I'm going to try and do a black and white junk journal, mostly black and white. There's obviously going to be some shades of brown because black and white photos they're not true black. There's so many different variations of black and so many different variations of white. So I think my journal is going to work out to be sort of like black and white and brownish. That's what I'm thinking. So I've already chosen out the hymns that I want to put in. They're beautiful. The font is beautiful. It's from an old Mennonite community. So the back of the book has some German in it as well. And boy, I had fun going through this and taking it apart, because all my old church days, I was singing away up here, singing all the hymns that I knew. my poor husband, he said, "Oh, it's a Sunday go to meeting day. Is it up there?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." It was fun. I enjoyed it. So I've been choosing, I have this book that I love called London Cemeteries. And it's got beautiful black and white photos of interesting headstones from famous cemeteries in London, England. So I've chosen a few out that I love that I will be putting in. I also have this beautiful book that I found a while back called Angels of Awakening. And it is, it has beautiful black and white photos of stone statues of angels. A lot of these, some of these are in the London Cemetery book. So they are actually from grave markers. And they're stunningly beautiful. Again, I think they're so lovely because some of these photos, it's just a portion of the statue. It's just these beautiful, delicate hands, the folds of the clothing, and of course, really lends itself to a black and white photography, so it shows beautifully. So I want to use some of this book in my black and white. I have gone through all of my scrapbook papers. Not that I have a lot, but I have a bit. And I've chosen out, all the black and white scrapbook paper that I have. I'm not sure how much I'll use, but it's nice to have options. And then I've been going through other books that I know has black and white things in it. Oh no, don't tell me it's over. Let me see. How are we for time? Oh, I got 1 minute. So I have a book on Beethoven, the life of Beethoven, and I liked some of these that I think I might want to put in. And what else do I have? Oh, I love this book. I want to try and use some of this. Art and Architecture in Medieval France. It's just got some beautiful black and white photos of cathedrals. So I'd like to make use of that. And I love things like this, the architectural renderings. So I have plans for that. And then I have this big old Girls Own annual from, I think it's 1886, 1889. Not sure. Doesn't matter. It's 1880s. And it's got some beautiful black and white. So I want to use some drawings. Oh, and I got a few more. Obviously, I've run out of time. But I love this book that I have, Opera Singers. It's, I believe, 1913. Hold on, let's see. 1913. And it's got photographs of opera singers for that year. Beautiful. Like, oh, so lovely. So I'd like to try and incorporate maybe some of these smaller ones because it's not a big book. So the big pictures, I love this. I'm going to have to save that for a large journal that I make. Isn't she beautiful? Brunhilde. Johanna Gadsky as Brunhilde. I love that. Anyhow, so that's my plans. So next time we get together, hopefully I'll be a little bit further along on this book. I can catch you up on what I've done and see where I'm going with it. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.